Hi and welcome to today's episode of the Red Room, which is coming to you from the well-used now, I've been here several times, Llandaff Cathedral. Great location as always. And today we're going to be looking at this Yashica Mat 124G. Now, this particular model I picked up from eBay a week before last in absolutely immaculate condition. I paid £100 for it. And it's absolutely working in every way. The meter works perfectly, the lens is sharp, I've put a test roller film through it, so I know that this is a really outstanding model. And I have a great affection for this particular camera because when I was an assistant in the 80s and 90s in a studio, I obviously had access to Sinars and Hasselblads and that sort of stuff, but I didn't own my own medium format camera. And so when I was looking for something that for my own work, I looked into it and picked up this particular camera, the Yashica, not this particular one, but a model exactly like it, Yashica Mat 124G. And it was just a wonderful entry point into owning a medium format camera and yielded just fantastic results. And obviously you have to be quite disciplined in the way you shoot, which is always a good thing because it's obviously a fixed lens. It's a Yashica 80mm f3.5 lens, square format, and really does focus your mind on how you compose stuff and where you stand, your position, because that's the only zooming you have, or a different position is the fact that you have to stand in different places to get the images that you want. So really an excellent camera. Now this particular model, I looked up the serial number on the back of it. This particular model was made in about 1973. The Yashica Mat 124G came out in 1970 and ended production in 1986. So this particular model is 54 years old and is absolutely immaculate, as I said. So just wonderful to use. So smooth, all metal build, fantastic build quality, and obviously is based on it's similar to the Reflex in every way. You've got the two dials to change your aperture and your shutter speed. And I also have I do have a rolly cord. And the rolly cord came with a this nice lens hood. And I do recommend you get a lens. If you're going to buy one of these, get a lens hood for the taking lens, purely because it stops the flare on the lens, and it's a good thing to have. But this is a Rolleiflex, so the Rolleiflex lens hoods fit on to the Bane. It's identical in terms of from that point of view. So the two formats are interchangeable. But obviously the Yashica Mat is incredibly, hundreds of pounds cheaper than a Rolleiflex. And you're not going to see any difference in image quality from a Rolleiflex or the Yashica Mat. Fantastic Japanese lenses. I love Japanese lenses. Great cameras, great build quality, very reliable, obviously, because this is 54 years old and still functioning absolutely perfectly. Your viewing lens is a top lens, and your taking lens is a bottom lens. So I know people talk about parallax errors, where obviously, but that's only when you're getting close to something. The minimum focusing distance on this is 1 meter. So if you are doing something close up, then obviously bear that in mind, that you have this slight difference in perspective. But apart from that, you can just shoot away, and what you see in the viewfinder is pretty well what you're going to get. Also, the viewfinder itself is great because you also have you have a little loop that pops up in the top of the viewfinder, which obviously aids you in focusing. And you also have this little sports finder where you can actually look through the back. Here's a little hole at the back here, and you can just sort of look at eye level, which you can compose shots if you want to do that. And that, again, I used that, and I did a test last week on the roller film, and yeah, the framing was great. So that worked out very well, because I was at a point where I wanted the camera higher. I didn't have a tripod with me, and I couldn't get high enough to look down, so just looking straight ahead was fantastic. And obviously you can put the camera above your head as well to get high shots when you're looking up through the... So again, very versatile. And the thing about them is the fact that all you're carrying with you is this. That's it. You don't need anything else. And so it makes it very much a camera where you can just get in the car, on motorbike, whatever, throw it on the seat, and you're ready to go with some really nice images on medium format. So yeah, it's a great camera, highly recommended, and it's a great entry level for anybody who's thinking of getting into medium format. Really, really nice camera to use. So today now we'll go around Llandaff Cathedral, we'll take some shots on it, and then go back to the darkroom, develop the film, do some prints, see what we get, and then we'll do a little more of a deep dive into the functions of it. I'll go through the camera, and yeah, and we can have a look at what we get. So, without further ado, let's go on a little walk. So it's always a pleasure to go around Llandaff Cathedral, which I'm sure you're becoming familiar with now, because I think it's the third time I've been around it. But on every occasion something new appears, which is always fun to shoot. This Yashica Mat 124G is a fantastic little camera. It's the perfect entry point for anybody who wants to explore medium format photography. It's compact, it's 80mm Yashica 3.5mm lens is absolutely stunningly sharp. And also with the addition of the light meter, which I checked against my Gossen Luna Pro F for accuracy, was bang on. The images, the exposures I got off it were fantastic. As you can see on this image, most probably my favourite of the day. This is I actually shot this handheld. Didn't use a tripod, didn't use the shutter release. Handheld, because the light suddenly shafted in. As you can see, the rays of light is amazing. And it's a high contrast range, this image. And the light meter got it bang on, so it's fantastic. Today I was using Kentmere 200 ISO black and white film, which is a great film. I developed it in ID11, 7.5 minutes on a stock solution. And the results, as you can see by the slideshow, were really, really sharp. I'll bring some more images up now so we can zoom into them. So this image of the interior of Llandaff Cathedral, where you've got Epstein's Christ in Majesty, and I'll zoom into that now. You can see how absolutely sharp that image is, and really, really great quality. So yes, the Yashica Mat with that Yashica f3.5mm lens is really spectacular, very, very good indeed. And the camera itself, and I'll just quickly go through the camera with you so you can see the condition of it. It's absolutely fantastic. So you have the light meter window here. So actually that actually is the sensor. And then on top here you have the ASA dial, which you put your film speed in, and here you have the actual meter, which the yellow, that yellow little thing, you match up, little needle, you match up with the red needle on the lens. So the red needle in the window goes back and forth according to the light that's coming in, and then you match up the yellow needle with the red needle with your aperture and shutter combination. And the aperture is done with the left hand dial, and the shutter speed is done with the right hand dial. You have the shutter release here, which you can attach the cable release to as well. You have a very, very useful self-timer, which I did use today. I used the self-timer. It's a 10-second self-timer. And so if you haven't got your cable release with you, I actually went back to the car to get the cable release, but I did get this one shot. I can't remember which one it was now. I think it was one of the ferns coming out of the cathedral wall, where I had the tripod, but I didn't have the shutter release, cable release. So I used a self-timer on it, and it's 10-second self-timer, so the camera settled and did the exposure, and it's absolutely perfect. So it's a really nice addition, that. And then on the side here, you have your focusing knob. So with a depth of field scale on the top, and then you have the tripod socket and also the release for the film to come in. So you open up by rotating, that comes out, and then you have the film can go in the back. Now, on the Yashica Mat 124G, apparently the 124 denotes 12 exposures or 24 exposures. And obviously on 220 film, you used to get 24 exposures. Well, you can't get 220 film now. Though I did hear that apparently in either Japan or China, there's a company going to manufacture 220 film, which is going to be interesting. So I'll do some more investigation into that and see if I can report back, because that'd be quite useful actually. But this camera will take both. So if it does come back into use, then we can use 220 film. And so basically, when you get the camera, if you bought a camera new, second hand, it'll come generally like this configuration, where you got the spool from the previous film still left in the bottom, and you pull out this knob here, and the spool comes out, and then you put that spool in the top here. So again, you take that knob, turn it so it locks there, and you push it in that way, and then you just put that back in there, and then you've got the winder here, so you can get the winder, so you get your little slit there. You take your 120 film, and then take your 120 film out, and you slot that into the bottom here, lock that in place like that, and then you take the black arrow. So you first of all put the slot in the slot here. So you put the slot in there, wind your film on like there, so you can see that going in, and then you wind round until that black arrow goes to the point where the indicator for the 12 exposures is here under there. And once you're in that position, you simply close the back, lock it, close, so go to the close position, which is there, and then you just wind on until the winder stops. And then when you wind it back, put that back in there, it's ready to fire, and in the window here it'll say number 1 on the first exposure, and you're ready to shoot, all ready to go. So really well designed piece of kit. So I highly recommend, if you're into maybe getting your first medium format camera, this is a great introduction to medium format, and you'll enjoy every moment of it. So hopefully this has been a useful episode to somebody, and thank you for the questions, thank you for the new subscribers, and thank you for the likes, really appreciate it. And I think we've got a few days of rain coming up, but by the end of this week, it's now middle of June, by the end of this week, middle of May, sorry, it's not middle of June, it's middle of May, we'll apparently we're going to have some nice weather coming up towards the end of this week and and into May and June. So that'll be fantastic, and we'll get out and do some more stuff with different cameras and different techniques. Any ideas, please let me know. If anybody wants to know something, they have need an answer to a question, please do put it down below, and I'll do my best to reply to you as soon as possible. And but in the meantime, you all have a good week, and take care, and cheerio for now.